standing here in our church lobby. This is a great place to get connected with other people. It's a great place to fellowship with other people after the service and meet your friends, meet new people. You can also go to the welcome area that's right behind me. You can see the mission statement up on the wall, that our mission as a church is to know Jesus, to grow in grace, and to show God's love. This is the space where you want to go if you want to find out more information about what's happening in a ministry or get connected to something. There's always people there on Sunday mornings who can help you. This is a place to go to fill out a registration for an upcoming event or just to get connected. We want to help you to connect to others, to connect to God in our worship, and to connect in the life of the church. That's one of our important values at Oak Haven. If any of you have ever been to Europe and traveled around to see some of the beautiful churches that God's people have created over the years, you have likely walked into a cathedral. A cathedral is always built with these huge high ceilings and beautiful stained glass, and they're meant to make you look upward towards the heavens, where we think of God living up in the heavens. Well, we want you to have the same kind of experience of awe and wonder. And one of our shared values at Oak Haven Church, whenever you come into our sanctuary to gather for worship, whenever you walk through our doors, anything that you're doing that's a part of the church, one of our important shared values is the value of excellence. We believe that excellence honors God and inspires people. So we want to do our very best with all of the resources that God has given to us. And that's why you see that we try to treat this space, a space of worship, with excellence. We try to set it up in certain ways and bring our best when it comes to our music and our preaching and the very prayers that we bring to God. We want to do our very best. And so we just wanted to highlight the idea of our excellence, honoring God, and hopefully inspiring you as you've been a part of the life of our church, and consider what it means that you can bring your excellence in your experience and participation as a member of Oak Haven. One of our really important values here at the church is the value of fun. You can hear the shouts of joy as the children are playing behind me in the gym. It's why we have this space we use on Wednesday nights for our youth and our children. Our preschool gets to use it all the time. So the gym demonstrates one of our great values, the value of fun. We also want to incorporate that into the life of our ministry. So always look for fun ways that you can contribute to the life of our church. Well, I'm here in another fun space. This is the tree house. You can see behind me, we've got a stage there. This is a space that our kids use a lot. And actually, it was a part of the original church. This was actually the sanctuary of the original church. You can see now that it's decorated like a tree house. There's tree limbs up on the walls. There's Pastor Lee hard at work getting ready for Wednesday nights. They've got all kinds of fun things in here for kids. Elementary kids love to come in here and learn about the Word of God. So this really highlights our value of fun here at Oak Haven. I'm here in our middle school room. It's another one of our fun spaces. They have a ping pong table and air hockey and foosball, and the students meet in here on a weekly basis. They gather around. They can watch some videos on the big screen TV there behind me, and gather in their small groups and have a lot of teenage fun. Adults and kids have a different kind of fun, but the teenagers just like to hang out, and this is a great space that's fun for them. Now I'm standing here in our Fireside Cafe. This is a wonderful, warm environment where you can come and grab a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night. Anytime that you're here, we've got a wonderful space for you to meet others, to spend time praying together and discussing your faith. And this space for me really represents our core value of love. That we are here to love God, that God wants us to know Him and be loved by Him, and we are meant to love one another. So this is a great reminder as we take a virtual tour of the church, spaces that you've been, some spaces you've never seen, that our building is really meant to convey what is most important to us, our shared values. So we're here in the part of the church building that is a part of our fellowship hall, but also can be closed off into these rooms that you see around us. And this is where our Awana clubs meets. So we have small groups that come in here, and the kids come down and they work on their Bible verses. But a couple times a year, we host a ministry called Family Promise, and we turn these rooms into bedrooms where families who are experiencing homelessness, they sleep overnight, and we have hosts who come and we bring them meals, we help them with transportation to jobs, we help them with various other things. And this is a great example of how servant leadership is such a value in our church. There's so many people that serve both in our Awana ministries and in Family Promise. And so as you want to get involved in serving in the life of the church, you can be thinking about those areas and others where you can use your gifts to serve God in His kingdom. Well, I'm back in the sanctuary, but I wanted to show you some of the kind of hidden places of the church. We're going to go in this back hallway behind the church, and we have some choir risers there, right there, and we'll just go back here. And these are some of the spaces you don't usually see, things like step ladders hanging on the wall there, and then we go up these stairs, and you can actually see where our baptistry is. This is down below here underneath this covered area, and you might see that in another video. And then we actually go into a little storage room here where we keep a lot of our worship equipment, and just a storage room, not very interesting. But this is some of the back rooms that are hidden that you don't always get to see. So I thought that'd be interesting for you to see. If you see behind me, this is the furnace room, and we'll just go right inside. There's actually 17, maybe 18 furnaces that heat the building here at Oak Haven. And I don't even know where the light switch is to this room, so we're going to go in the dark. And somewhere there's a light switch. There we go. And so you can see, look at all these big furnaces. These are just 4 or 5 of the furnaces that heat our building. And because we've added on to this building over the years so many times, there are furnaces tucked in corners and hidden away, and some of them are older than I am, and some of them have been recently replaced, like these here, so they're in good shape and keeping us warm in the winter. So this is a space you may never see as a member of the church. Well, I'm in another kind of dark space here. This is where our water filtration system is. You can see here all these water softener and filtration units, and some of our circuit breakers. There's a big pile of salt that I'm just walking past, and what I really want to show you is this really interesting kind of well basin. I don't even really know what it is, but it's like a deep down cistern that sometimes is kind of wet down there. It's dry today, which is good news for us, so we don't have to do anything to fix that up. But we've got this really modern filtration system that we installed a few years back because we discovered we had some challenges with our water. So the congregation was generous and gave towards that project, and now our water is clean and pure and is great for our preschool that meets here. And so here's another hidden place that you don't always get to see in the life of the church. So the local church is a unique setting of community, and I'd love for you to share a little bit. You have so many different perspectives in being in a lot of different settings, in urban settings, in more suburban. I don't know what the church in Iowa was like, but Iowa's not known for being an urban place generally. So what is it that makes any local church a special place?
From a biblical perspective, I think all churches are local. I know there's some who try to identify with the universal church, but I think you start looking at the scriptures there with the church at Corinth and the church at Ephesus and various places. They had
different problems
that
the Apostle Paul wanted to address.
That's correct. Or even John in Revelation describes as well. Each church is. I actually nicknamed some of those churches. The church in Iowa I called the Church of Corinth. because we had a lot of issues that were like the Church at Corinth that we had to deal with. It was a time of the charismatic movement was in full force, and how do we understand the gifts, and all those kinds of things were part of the church culture at that time. The church in Chicago, more established church, and it was actually called Salem, and I understood that to be a sort of a shortened version of Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And so I called it kind of the church at Jerusalem. And how did that kind of function? And then the church in St. Paul I had some familiarity with because of people I knew over the years that were there. So I don't know if I nicknamed as much as just it was an urban church, and we had to commit to do urban ministry. But each church had a different way of doing outreach. Each church had a different dynamic to it. The church in Iowa is much like Oak Haven, in the sense that it was a plant, and it welcomed every visitor in ways that they had the opportunity to be a vital part of what the congregation was about. The church in Chicago was much more ingrown, harder to break into. Mm-hmm. But when in this case, we relocated, then there was an influx of people, and then we had to adjust, what do these new people mean? And sort of build bridges between the old established people and the new timers. How do we incorporate them into who we are?
Yeah, I've always thought of it, a local church has its own identity, and we have a sense of communal direction where we believe God is taking us. But there are times that a church can go through an identity crisis, and that can be a time of turmoil. But when a church has a real strong identity of this is who we are, it helps the people that walk through the doors for the first time to know, does this fit me? Does this fit who I understand God to be? And can I come to this place and feel like I'm a part of it? And so I think that's a really valuable part of knowing ourselves and knowing where God is taking us.
And I've always been the opinion that the ambassadors of the church are the members of the church. So every place in which God places the people of the church, they become those who kind of network community people, hopefully are representing Christ in a way that is attractive, and then always asking a question. I think it's a great question. Do you have a church? Where do you go to church? Mm-hmm. And people are likely to come to church because a friend invites them.
Right. That's the number one reason, really, that anyone's going to come to try out a new church, is that they were invited by someone that they know, that they're in relationship with.
I am holding in my hand a top secret file. Well, it's not top secret, it's just old. It's from the early 2000s. It's actually the Ham Lake Baptist Church meeting summary of the renaming project. You see, back in the early 2000s, the people of our congregation were talking a lot about what should the new name of the church be. If you're new around here, you just know us as Oak Haven Church. That's the sign that you see as you drive in. That's the name of the church that you tell to people when you invite them to come to your church. Hey, I want you to come to my church with me this Sunday. It's Oak Haven. It's in Ham Lake. But we used to be Ham Lake Baptist. That is a rich part of our history and our heritage. And in this file, it's a fascinating story of how the name was changed. We asked people of the congregation to submit ideas for names of the new name of the church that we might choose, and over 100 names were submitted. They narrowed that down to a list of 17 names. There's names on here like Hope Community or Crosspoint Community, Harmony, Northridge Fellowship, Amazing Love, Greenwood, Keystone, Lifehouse, Living Word, Northcrest. all of these could have been the new name of our church. Eventually, we narrowed that list down, and people voted, and there was all this community that went into this, and we believed God was leading us to choose the name of our church as Oak Haven Church, a name that would not create barriers for people coming to our church and coming to know Christ. We wanted to establish an environment where anyone felt welcome. And I hope that is the spirit of our church that you still feel today. That as you came in and you were new, you felt welcomed here. As you become a part of our congregation, you feel like it is an easy place to invite your friends or your family or your coworkers to come into a place where they can learn about who God is and God's amazing love for us. We want that to be the expression of our faith as a church community. As Oak Haven, firmly rooted in our Baptist heritage of Ham Lake Baptist of many years ago, to the future of where God is leading us. I'm so glad that you want to be a part of that. Well, we've been talking about the church's identity and what makes us unique as a congregation. And one of the important factors as you think about church membership is how you fit into the life of our church. God weaves together different people to create a fabric of a local church. And your role, your giftedness, your personality, your interests and passions will actually shape us as a local congregation. As different people come and go in the life of our church, we have people who come and bring forward an interest or a passion area, and they say, what if we would try this new area of ministry? And as leadership, we are always willing to hear that. So we know that as you consider becoming a member of the church, the way that you serve others, the way that you have an interest or a passion that you want to use, is actually going to change the future of our congregation. We are going to become stronger as you use your gifts to serve God's people, to reach out into our community, to bring in others who we don't even know yet, who need to know Jesus and grow in grace and show God's love to those around them. So I just want to encourage you as you consider what it means to be a member, that we value your contribution more than you can know, because it actually shapes who we are becoming. We are going to be a different church a year from now, 5 years from now, than where we are today. And a lot of that has to do with who comes and gets involved and shapes and influences the direction that we are headed. So we're excited to go on that journey together with you.